Hey, folks! We're back after a little bit of time with a new episode of Three Men in Anime. Huzzah!
Hooray!
It has been 42 years since the last show.
Dear God, I hope not.
There is time travel involved. It gets very.
Oh, fair enough. Okay, if you're factoring in the time travel, then
There's
sure,
some-
Eric.
There's an entire timeline with gay necromancers and Black
And then
Lantern
that never
rings,
happened.
and then it all
Yeah.
collapsed. And then there was this Fey Prince on a pink Cadillac who has all of the style. And yeah,
Eric's entirely accurate, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're covering this week Eric's most recent series selection, Revolutionary Girl Utena, which is a show Eric and I have both seen most of at some point, but we're pretty sure we didn't see it in the correct order. Or I'm not sure I've seen all of it. I just remember being on TV and watching it and being very confused.
I remember seeing it, and I guess it was like it wasn't all of it, but I didn't realize that because it was 20 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
So Eric, before we go any further, so you remember the problem we had with Lelouch?
Yeah.
You suggested a show, and you forgot a kind of an important part of the show.
Now, to be fair, I am certain that there was at least 2 story arcs that were not involved in my first viewings. I honestly was certain this is a 24 episode show.
Yeah, I honestly do not remember the second arc at all. I remember the first arc.
It wouldn't surprise me if it got cut, to be honest. But
And I remember the last arc, and I remember that more because I remember the animation style of that arc more than I remember the way it.
Yeah,
because the animation changed over the course of the show. Each arc, the animation got progressively. The art and animation got progressively better.
Yes, I mostly remember the last arc, and I remember the first arc from trying to rewatch it at one point in the site getting nuked.
Right.
And like that second arc, as far as I know, did not exist. And I'm like, what the hell is with these necromancers? Why are there necromancers now? Why are they giving people Black Lantern rings? This is really interesting. How does this tie into everything? It doesn't.
It does, but here's the thing. It does, but it doesn't. All right.
Yeah.
So, long story short, the thing that Eric didn't realize about the show, that Gav's referring to, it's not so much Eric forgot this time. It's just more that Eric had no fucking clue. I had no fucking clue.
Yeah.
And we didn't realize it until we actually started watching the show and realized, wait, there are 39 episodes.
Yeah.
broke the seal.
We broke the seal.
Yeah, this is a long series for what we cover in general. You know, we've covered a few shows where they've got multiple seasons, and but each season we've held to one episode, with the exception of seasons 2 and 3 of My Hero Academia, which was a special, so that doesn't count. Shut up.
Right.
So Utena is all right. So the first thing I want to mention, this is actually a fairly important show in a lot of ways. Like it broke a lot of ground. From what I understand, it's very important to. There are a lot of people for whom it's very important to them,
Yes.
and I totally get that. And I will say before we go any further, if you want to, just a quick. Should you watch this show from us before we get to our final conclusions? I would say yes, especially if you're interested in sort of seeing sort of something a bit strange, and it's a good show overall. It is long, it meanders, it is sense challenged at some points. There are periods where the show makes no goddamn sense.
Well, if I can just something that's caught my eye because I always go through the wikis when we're doing this, and the Wikipedia explains it absolutely spot on. It is Revolutionary Girl Utena is a surrealist story, no shit, that makes heavy use of allegory and symbolism, with many aspects of its plot revealed indirectly or in a manner that is completely open to audience interpretation.
Yes.
Yes, that was honestly what I remembered about the show. I was like, I want to do something a little weird and surreal, so we're going to do Revolutionary Girl Utena, because that's what I remember about it. And thinking, you know what, this is something I should rewatch for the first time since college. So yes, we'll do that.
So basically, this show comes in, asks a whole lot of questions of the viewer, and when you say, "Okay, that's interesting," so what's the question? The show turns around and says, "Fuck if I know."
No, that's not true at all.
Oh, it very much has answers to them.
The show posts lots of really interesting questions, and you go, "Okay, great. Okay, show. What do you think the answer is?" Banana.
Yeah.
Are you being metaphorical? Or do you mean the fruit? Kumquat. Fuck.
42.
So there are some things the show is very definitively about, which are very clear, though you don't realize it until the last 2 or 3 episodes, where everything sort of crashes together in this cavalcade of wait, that was what that was about.
And it makes sense. This isn't an Outlaw Star case situation where it's like, oh god, we have 3 episodes to finish up the plot.
That's because it is a 39 episode long show, Eric.
Yeah. But essentially, the best way to think of this is, look, there are going to be things that happen that leave you going, wait, what? Why? What? How? But it's like,
to be fair, I knew that going in.
But it's like, okay, you go into like, you go to the theater, and it's Patrick Stewart, and he's sat there, and the entire show is him reading Shakespeare. You think this is going to be awesome. You don't ask why he's dressed as a clown.
No, I mean, obviously, you know why he's dressed like a clown.
So, the thing is, the important bit, though, is it is at its core, basically, effectively, it's a love story between 2 high school girls. Asterisk.
Yeah.
One of them is definitively a high school girl. The other might be a fairy princess. I'm not entirely sure.
The personified aspect of self-sacrifice, I don't know.
Yeah.
The show is very surreal.
It is.
And does not hold your hand.
It is also very much a fairy tale in the classical sense.
Yes.
There are a lot of characters you could read as Fey royalty, basically. A lot of the characters show are very clearly aristocrats.
Mm-hmm. There's no real connection to the real world either. It's like no one's like bothered about, no one's driving cars, no one's bothered about the latest technology or phones or whatever else.
When you say no one, Eric, Gav.
Okay.
There is the pink Cadillac and there is the motorcycle.
Yeah, but what I mean
is
the
pink Cadillac, Eric?
Hmm?
The pink Cadillac?
The pink Cadillac.
There are more than one, Eric.
There is only one. You are seeing different shades of it.
But what I mean
fair.
is
Passed out from the single origin like colors from a prism.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's more that like it's a modernish kind of like attitude and kind of like, yeah, it's upper class, but it's modernish. But the whole setting feels medieval in a way, and it's weird, man.
Yeah, we had several. Like I know I did. I mentioned this at least once, and we all sort of had this sort of feeling of, in some ways, the school feels like it's sort of almost like a school made by like.
It's in a void. It feels like anything outside the school is just a fucking void of white.
But it's almost like it's a school for like the nobility of the Fey court, but there are a lot of human students there. But
otherwise things would get boring.
Yeah, but like no one's actually. There are exactly 2 characters who I'm convinced at this point are basically actually Fey. I think everyone else is actually human. I think. Well, no. Okay, the Greek chorus girls might not be, but
the shadow puppets,
who are basically the Greek chorus.
Yes.
Yes.
So they don't sing. Instead, they put on hilarious little shadow puppet plays that are only tangentially related to what's going on. And then, like, after the first dozen of them, you go, holy shit, they're making sense. Well done.
The show's weird, man. So, the long story short, there are 4 arcs. And we're going to talk briefly about what each of the arcs is about. You'll notice some repetition. A lot of it.
Almost like it's a fairy tale or an epic poem.
Yeah. The show is less about the actual story and more about the characters and how they change.
Mm-hmm. I mean, not to spoil things, okay? And I mean, this is going to be a spoiler for the next like 20 seconds. Okay, this show is split into 4 arcs. The first arc, Utena fights the student council.
Yep.
The second arc, Utena fights the student council. Sorry, representatives of the student council fighting in the same style as the student council. The third arc, Utena fights the student council, now reinvigorated, decide to fight her again. The fourth arc, where everything's like, says, fuck all that we just put before, here's the actual plot.
Here's what all of that has been leading up to.
Fulcrum driving around like fucking Dio Brando.
Yeah.
Dear fucking God, Akio. Holy shit, man. Okay, so... yeah,
does not appreciate buttons.
No! Buttons are for losers, Gav. And the unsexy.
Like, legitimately, buttons dissolve in his presence.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyone wearing a shirt in his presence suddenly...
is no longer wearing a shirt. It's wide open. Their chest is just like, behold, look at my manly and occasionally womanly pectorals and or breasts.
Fucking Fulgrim.
Yeah, so, yeah, all right. This is very much, it is amazing how overtly sexual the show is without being overtly sexual.
Yeah.
They do
I made the joke about boobs, but you see zero bared breasts in this.
Put it this way.
No, one of them wide paired, at least in the last arc, but...
yeah. It took about 5 or 6 episodes for us to realize this wasn't Clamp.
Yeah. Well, that is very much the fault of the character design.
The character design is very reminiscent of Clamp's, but I think I actually overall like it better for the most part.
Hips are mostly optional.
Sorta. I will say, holy cow, this is the most Bishonen cast I have ever seen.
Bish.
Yeah.
Bish. All chins are lethal.
Like, most of the main male characters are stunningly beautiful.
With long flowing locks of hair.
Like I say, if you look at the image there, no one has a chin that isn't a right angle.
Yeah, their chins are very pointy. But
everyone is... The entire cast is very elfin in their look.
Yes, they are.
Yes.
Fae aspect we were talking about earlier.
So the show is, unsurprisingly, the main character is Utena. And let me get her full name. I'm blanking it all of a sudden. I'm blanking her name all of a sudden. Tenjo. Utena Tenjo.
Thank you.
So she is our main protagonist. And she is a bit of a tomboy. She is very, very athletic. We routinely see her absolutely schooling everybody at school at basketball. She loves... She is... And I'm talking the dudes. Like,
yeah.
She is probably the best athlete of any of the characters in the show. Like, just in terms of pure athletics. She gets into this whole thing with dueling with swords thing. She has no sword training whatsoever. She largely gets by on accidentally discovered superpowers and raw athleticism, basically. And in at least one case, dear God, oh my God, what the fuck is that luck?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
I actually have a theory on that, and I'll get to it. Because I have a theory on what... And I don't think it's actually that... I think it's a pretty obvious theory that what Utena's actual power is. Because she has one. I think it's pretty... I mean, it's abundantly clear. So, yeah, basically, the student council are all doing this whole dueling game thing, where everyone who has this special ring is entered into this dueling contest over the Rose Bride, who is this other girl named Anthy Himamaya.
Yes.
Anthy is...
Anthy is very demure and passive.
That's an understatement.
She has her quirks, but she doesn't like flaunt them, and she's very
She's a MacGuffin.
She is.
She does not have any agency of her own.
Yeah, I mean this is entirely deliberate.
And it seems okay with it.
Yeah, but in the early arcs, you could replace Anthe with a stone statue and little would change.
Well,
Other than
people would break. A lot of people would break their hands.
Yeah, I was
slap
gonna say,
her.
other than a lot of people had hurt their hands on, from slapping the fuck out of her.
Poor girl, dear lord.
Poor Anthe. She gets.
Well, I
everyone's
feel a
bad.
little bit less sorry about her when you find her back. When you find her what she actually is at the end.
Yeah.
But then you feel bad about it again because you realize that she's actually changing over the course of the show.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But yeah, she's supposedly something called, like Peter said there, the Rose Bride. They don't explain what the Rose Bride is until
About halfway through the final arc.
yeah, like episode 40 or 36, something like that.
A little bit earlier than that, but yeah.
Don't worry about that. You don't need to know that. She's the Rose Bride and people are fighting over her.
They're fighting over her because if you have the Rose Bride, when the whole contest ends, you'll get access to this upside down castle in the sky and gain the power of Dios and the ability to revolutionize the world. What does any of that mean? Fuck if we know until the end. Utena is not dueling in this. Utena has one of the rings because when she was a kid, she met a prince who gave her this ring and told her that it would eventually lead her to him in the future. And she's like, okay, well, until then, I'm going to be a prince because I want to be able to help people the way this guy helped me.
Yeah. This guy left such an impression on her that she wants to emulate him as much as she can.
Yep. And her best friend, who at the start of the show, who's Wakaba. Wakaba's great. I love her. She is.
I only remember Wakaba's name now because of the fucking end, the bit at the end where somebody gets her, she starts getting her own medicine.
Yes.
Wakaba out the fucking window.
Wakaba is a very clingy friend, and
A little bit.
I am fairly certain that there is definitely an element of. Okay, so as I mentioned before, this is basically a love story between two girls. There is one overtly lesbian character in the show.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And Utena and Anthe are very, very almost certainly bi.
Put it this way. This came out
98.
in 19. Was it that late?
The anime came out in 98. The manga was 96 to 98. So it started in 96.
Okay. And they were rolling this. A lot of the production staff on this, the guys that went on to form B Papas, including like one of the main guys that actually dealt with the anime, was also involved in the production of Sailor Moon.
Yeah.
Like directed a whole lot of episodes.
Back in the day, yep.
Yeah. So, you know that one big controversial thing that everyone talks about Sailor Moon?
That was edited out for Western audiences?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is this.
Yeah.
This is the anime.
The anime.
Basically, yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's very much a magical girl show at its core to some degree.
Yes.
But at any rate, it is okay. I'll put it this way: it is very very clear that Utena very much is very much bi. Like that's just clear. At very least, she likes dudes and she's very much into Anthe.
Yeah.
Anthe doesn't have much agency until the end, where it becomes very clear she's very much into Utena. And she ends up having relationships with at least one dude, which we'll get to. And that
The thing with it is, Utena's not really coming into this in that sort of sense to start off with. She gets involved with this whole thing because she sees dudes slapping Anthe around. It's like,
well, that's not why she gets in the duels, though. She gets in the duels because of Wakaba, which is hilarious.
well, yeah.
But the big thing is, Anthe is... So, yeah, Wakaba hangs over Utena, overtly declares her love for Utena, but is also very clearly into another dude.
Yeah.
Later on.
Yeah. It's
what this means, who
where,
fucking knows?
Yeah. It's one of those high schools where, everyone's confessing their love for each other.
Constantly.
All of the girls constantly talk about the hot guys, of which there are about 3.
Oh no, there are 3 super hot guys
Yeah.
who overshadow everybody else.
Yeah.
Also, 2 of those 3 are complete fucking assholes.
Yeah.
And then there's
No, they're all assholes. One just starts to learn better.
no, two of them are complete fucking assholes. One is young enough to learn.
Yeah.
Well, no.
Actually, they're all
it's
young
not-
enough to learn, but you know.
Yeah. The difference is, this is the funny fucking part. Two of them are complete assholes. One of them starts to have a change of heart and realizes himself what his fault is. The other one just admits, yeah, I'm an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it just embraces his whole assholishness. No, I'm an asshole. I'm here to do asshole things and be an asshole to people that don't deserve it because I'm an asshole.
This would be Saionji,
Yeah.
who is the first antagonist, I suppose.
Yeah. So, yeah, basically, Utena gets into the dueling because Saionji, basically her friend, Wakaba, sent a letter of confession to Saionji, confessing her love for him because he's super hot. And she likes him. And Saionji basically just sort of drops the letter on the ground and people find it and post on the bulletin board. It's embarrassing Wakaba to no end. Utena is like, okay, this really hurt the feelings of my best friend. I am not standing for this because that's the sort of person I am. The other important bit is Utena, almost all the girls at school, wear the same sort of dress as the school uniform. Utena does not, much to the consternation of the teachers.
Yeah.
She wears a suit jacket and bike shorts.
Well, she wears a version of the boys' uniform, basically.
Yeah, except that she's not wearing normal pants.
Yeah.
No, she's wearing bike shorts, and her vaguely military suit jacket is black and red instead of.
It's dark blue, but yeah. It's darker color as opposed to white. Is the big thing.
Well, no, it's black and red because everyone else is wearing white and green. It's intentionally inverted.
Oh, fair enough. That just may be highlighting I'm looking at. At any rate, the important bit is, yeah, you're right, actually thinking about the show now. Right, at any rate. Yeah, it is definitely intentionally inverted, you're right, now I'm thinking about it. That makes a lot of goddamn sense. Because everything is symbolism in this show. Everything. Yeah, the teachers are, they basically sort of like, the first thing we see, one of the first things we see is what the guidance counselor basically, getting very upset with Utena for not wearing the girl's uniform. And Utena's like, well, it's just a school uniform. Well, it's the boys' uniform. And does it say anywhere in the rulebook that I can't wear the boys' uniform? Well, all right, I'm off to class. Bye.
This is the last we see of any adults in the show.
That's not actually. No, she shows up a couple of times.
Fair enough. But again, the setting is the school. No one takes class.
No, we actually see class. We see them in classrooms a few times.
Yeah,
Between classes.
They're just sitting, staring out windows. That's all you do in Japanese high school.
Well, it's because the actual classes are completely and utterly irrelevant to the story of the show.
Yeah,
yeah.
You absorb knowledge through mitosis of just being in the classroom, and then emerge and become a salaryman. That's how Japan works.
No, you forgot the step where you drive yourself insane taking incredibly difficult tests.
Oh right, yeah.
You forgot that part. That your entire future depends on because Jesus fucking Christ. At any rate, moot point. So yeah, Utena confronts Saionji and is like, dude, that was a dick move. I know you didn't post it, but the way you treated the letter was like, she confessed her feelings. Dude, dick move. And he's like, what are you going to do about it? He's sitting there and he's the head of the kendo club. And she's like, fine, I'll duel you. And he's like, well, yeah, then he looks at it, she's wearing rings. He's like, oh, you're a duelist. Well then, we shall actually duel. What? Meet me in the woods at this time tomorrow and tonight. We'll have our proper duel. Fine, fuck it. Yeah, sure, let's go.
Fine, fuck you. Let's do it.
So she shows up at the kendo thing, and he basically she shows up, and like there's this huge gateway,
giant like marble gate with covered in carved roses, and she takes a minute to figure it out, and it turns out there's a water drop that falls on her ring, which opens a thing, and then Japanese prog rock starts playing as she ascends a spiral staircase to a floating island.
All of this is factual.
This all happens.
I love this show. I love that I can describe it entirely like normally and have it sound like one of my intentionally absurd descriptions.
Yes. And so he basically reveals that yes, here's the duel. We will be dueling. Basically, the first one to destroy the rose that you'll be wearing, and Anthe is there, and she gives him the rose. And Anthe, whom has been hanging on Saionji for a while because he's currently has possession of her.
Because he's currently the
champion,
the big monkey, the big monkey muck.
He goes on about basically he says if you destroy the rose, then you get the possession of the rose bride. Utena's like, the fuck. I'm here because you like hurt my friend.
I'm gonna kick your ass. I don't care about this Rose Bride bullshit. You can't own people. That's dumb.
By the way, for the first arc, most of the first arc, there's a lot of Utena basically going, "This is fucking stupid. I want nothing to do with this." Oh fuck! I'm getting roped into it again. I don't want to. Okay, fine. If you insist, I'll do this. Fine. And later on, she basically decided, well, I'm stuck in this whole dueling thing. I'll take it seriously. Because, we'll get to why she decided that in a moment. The long story short, though, yeah. So she gets in the duel. She has her kendo. She has her, shinai, the wooden kendo thing. And Saionji pulls out an actual sword. And Nuna's like, and she doesn't realize it's an actual. She thinks
pull out an actual sword. He does the end of the tango move with Anthe, reaches into her chest, not like into her shirt, like through the meat, and pulls out a sword. Which is glowing for some reason.
Yes. Utena assumes this is a fake sort of trick sword type thing. Because magic doesn't exist. Oh, magic exists and that's a real sword. Well, fuck. My kendo stick is now broken and he's mocking me. Fuck you, dude. You're an asshole. I'm here to defend my friend. Smack. And she managed to charge at him and, destroys the rose. And he's like, the fuck just happened? The fuck just happened? Also, like the image of a prince in white, in like white sort of princely uniform falls out of the sky and fuses with her, and as she does the charge. Get used to that shot.
Get used to that shot.
Yeah.
Not just falls out of the sky, it falls out of the upside down floating castle.
Yeah, we didn't mention that, did we?
There's an upside down floating castle.
So Utena beats him, and now she has possession of Anthe Himea. And they get their own dorm room in this abandoned dorm, and they live together. And Anthe basically says, "Yep, I now do what you want me to do." And Utena's like, "The fuck?"
Well, that's dumb. You should just do what you want to do. Well, I want to do what you want to do. Okay, well, I want to do what you want to do, which is what you want to do. Fuck, we're gonna be stuck in a recursive loop forever, aren't we?
Utena at least has agency. It basically just does stuff. Yeah. And Anthe follows along. It's very clear Anthe does have likes and things she cares about outside of what her quote, the person she's currently following around wants. But yeah, so the other important note is Saionji loves Anthe. I think the correct term is obsessed with, but
yeah,
he claims he has romantic feelings for her, and maybe he does somewhere, but he's also a colossal asshat and abusive, and is generally a terrible person.
Yeah, that's
there are a lot of characters who fall into those categories, and most of them don't change as much as you'd like them to. A couple of them do, actually, is the really interesting thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, the first arc of the story is basically Utena getting to know the other characters in the show, getting into duels with the student council over Anthe, and winning until the last duel against the obvious big boss of the student council, where she loses once and then goes back and challenges him again later when she realizes that not actually protecting Anthe is just not her.
Right.
Because she's come to the conclusion she wants to protect Anthe until Anthe can figure out what the fuck she actually wants. Utena's goal is to help Anthe, basically. That's what she wants. Yeah. But she realizes, oh god, Anthe really just doesn't... What's happening to Anthe is fucking wrong. Yes. And I refuse to let that happen to someone whom I've come to consider a friend. Like, no, fuck that. Screw that. I'm a goddamn prince. I'm gonna protect people. But you're a girl. Shut the fuck up. Did I stutter?
Does that matter? Well, generally prince is gendered and you could be a prince. No, I'm a prince. Fight me. Oh fuck. Okay.
So yeah, that's the first. That covers the first arc, and the student council members we meet are Saionji, who was who's the head of the kendo club and was the first champion. Mickey, who is the blue-haired kid. He's very smart. He's a brilliant pianist. He's a fencer. And he's probably either the nicest or second nicest person of the student council. He has problems, but he kind of mostly figures them out.
Yeah, and he's got a thing with a stopwatch,
Which is never actually overtly
it's never
explained.
explained. No. There's possibilities, but nothing's ever explained.
There are ways you could probably interpret it. I don't know what they are off the top of my head.
The only thing I ever noticed is what he seems to be trying to do is stop it on a dead zero number.
That's what I've noticed. I noticed that too. I don't know why.
I think he does manage it at the end, but again, it doesn't explain anything.
No,
I think honestly, my thought is, and this bears out with a lot of how he grows. He sort of sees things as a zero-sum game, so trying to stop it on a zero and never achieving that till the end is
yeah, I can see that.
Like there are winners, he very much believes in winners and losers, and he tries to make sure everything's balanced out so that
But yeah, basically the reason Mickey is in this is he's sort of part of the student council, and he's sort of not super fussed about Anthony until he hears her playing piano, and he's like, oh my god, she's playing the song my sister and I used to play together, and she's like the only person I've ever heard who can play it as well as my sister did. And so he's always been attracted to her. So he's like, wow, that is the song of my heart. That song is really important to him. And to have someone else who can perform it with him is like huge.
Yeah.
Now,
he's always like, she's really hot. Awesome. But, I've got other things I need to concern myself with. Holy shit, that's the song. That song means everything.
Yeah. So that's why he challenges Utena. Now, the thing that is never that I don't think Utena really gets a chance to point out is he basically is like, look, if you ask Anthony to play with you and do that, I'm not going to stop Anthony from going to play music with you. If you want to ask her out and she says yes, I'm not going to stop her from doing that because that's her decision, not mine. Why do we have to fight over? We're fighting over this. Okay.
Well, that feeds back into his whole idea of everything being a zero.
Oh no, totally. Game. No, but totally, absolutely. There has to be a winner and a loser. That is his sort of viewpoint at this point. That changes over the course of the show. He's one of the characters who actually grows.
Which is when he stops it on a zero.
Yep. We also find out bits about his sister, which we find that in the second arc, and so that's the first of them. The second student council member we see her duel is Juri. Juri is the head of the fencing club. She is probably the best pure swordsman in the student council, and she really has no interest in the whole sort of actual like. She has no interest in Anthony, despite that she is very much gay.
Yeah.
It's just Anthony's not her thing. She's got a girl she's actually got a thing for. Anthony, which, dear Lord, it's not her fault. You don't choose who you fall in love with, but dear Lord, Juri deserves better. And she fixes that later on. Again, Juri grows. She's an interesting character.
Yeah.
I'll admit, not many of them do. Not a whole lot.
3 of them do. And 3 and a 10th. Toga sort of figures out. Toga and Saionji both figure out what their issues are. Toga sort of wants to change things but isn't sure how, and Soji is like, well, nope, I'm an asshole.
I think, and I mean, I don't mean to derail this. This is more kind of a final thoughts kind of thing, really. But I think this is my main issue with this show is the characters they're not really characters as such, a lot of them. They're archetypes. that follow the plot all the way through, and then we get to the last episode, and it's like, well, class, what did we learn? And all of a sudden, they've made these huge revelations. There's 2 or 3, that are exempt from this, that do have arcs, as gradual as they may be. But the vast majority of them are just like, yep, this is them all the way through the show. This is them, and then all of a sudden they turn around and explain things to you. It's like, what? Where's that come from?
Like, yeah, it's almost as though they're caught in the same cyclical thing. The only one that breaks out of it are Utena and Anthe.
All right, smartass.
That turns out it's actually a plot point.
Yep.
So yeah, Jury is, again, she's, the problem is Jury has had her heart broken badly, and does not believe in miracles at all, and that's the whole reason she's in this, to prove miracles don't actually exist. Like, that's literally the only reason she wants Anthe, is to win and prove that miracles are.
There's also that sort of like hope that she has, that she dares not admit, that maybe she actually can revolutionize the world.
Right. But she doesn't. She's fighting to prove that she can't.
Again, they don't really explain what they mean by revolutionize the world either. I don't mean to keep jumping around, but in the second arc, they kind of start to imply that it's basically your heart's desire. You get your one perfect wish kind of situation. But they still never really explain what
there's no small part of it is Jury's actually right, and Akio's been lying the whole fucking time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's actually what it is. There's no power to revolutionize the world. There's the power for Akio to basically get what he wants. That's yeah. Little does he realize that he's completely incapable of getting what he wants nowadays because of what he's become.
He's also trapped in the same cycle.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's basically the first arc. Yeah, Utena quote wins against Jury because Jury gets massively unlucky.
Yeah.
The second time they do fight again in the third arc, but anyways, so that's the first arc. Again, she fights Toga, who's the redheaded dude. We forgot the other duelist, which is Toga's younger sister, Nanami.
Yes.
Nanami, who for a good chunk of the show seems like your archetypical sort of annoying
mean girl.
Mean girl, sort of hime type with the highfalutin the high pitched cackling laugh. That one.
Yeah.
Etc. With a group of toadies who fall around. She's torments all the less popular girls, etc. And the thing you don't notice at first until as it goes along, you realize that she's actually the one who's changing. She ends up changing the most, and if you look back at it like across the show, it actually makes sense.
Yeah. No, when Nanami started out as a write-off character for me. Oh, it's the boring mean girl. I can't even work up the energy to hate her. Okay. And as the show progresses, she actually becomes one of my favorite characters.
Yep. She is also I will also say that they did a bit of plot, sort of casting of the character, and that she's the archetypical sort of a bratty mean girl princess type, who is the butt of virtually every major joke.
Yes.
She is in no means comic relief, but also in her own way, like horribly tragic as well. She's like this trifecta of God, I want to kill you. God, I just want to like fucking shelter you. God, you're a fucking imbecile. All in one. And it's like, because when we're first introduced to her, the first episode with her, it's a big high society ball kind of thing, and she's there in her expensive dress, and Utena and Anthe both walk in equally expensive, equally grand dresses, showing her up in her head.
Well, Anthe's dress was actually a gift from Nanami to Anthe, because the whole point was it was a trap for Anthe.
Yes. But Utena shows up in an equally expensive dress given to her by
Toga.
Toga,
Yeah.
which Nanami also hates because she's also kind of got a little bit of a little sister crush on her brother.
Yep. It's mostly she doesn't like the fact her brother pays attention to girls other than her. He's too much of a playboy, which is entirely true.
He really is, but it's not just little girls; it's also anything, including cats.
Yeah, the cat thing was that was one of the less good moments for her.
She is fundamentally she is profoundly insecure. Up until the end when she realizes, you know what? Fuck this bullshit. I'm done.
Yeah. Giving you the crib notes of that episode, it's like, hey brother, it's your birthday. Here's a cute little pet kitten. Why are you spending so much time and attention on that kitten? You should spend more attention on me. This is a problem. Hey kitten, can you swim?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair, she it is something that she clearly regrets and is probably her greatest shame.
Yeah. She is not a sociopath. You know, she was being a bratty, a really awful kid, and realized as it was happening that it was wrong.
Yeah.
But way too late.
That doesn't mean that it's a forgivable action.
No, it's not.
At all.
No, not at all.
It's a monstrous act of cruelty against something that cannot defend itself or understand why it's happening.
Yep.
But she does learn from it and realize exactly how wrong it is.
Plus, she gets turned into a cow, so that's
She does. Again, she's the butt of virtually every major joke, and some of them are goddamn hilarious.
She gets trampled by elephants like several times.
And it's funny every goddamn time.
fucking elephants.
The elephants are the best goddamn thing.
Those elephants have a fucking grudge. I did not realize they were so adept at mountain climbing just to chase this one teenage girl.
Who knew elephants could surf?
And surfing, yes. I forgot about the surfing.
By the way, the episodes with the episodes with the elephants are both unbelievably hilarious, and we're not joking.
Yeah.
Dead serious. But yeah,
they also have absolutely no bearing on the rest of the show.
No. But Nanami eventually gets roped in. Nanami is actually a member of the gets involved in this and gets schooled by Utena because Utena schools everybody except for basically there are two people Utena doesn't just outright beat in the dueling thing, which are Juri, because Juri gets unlucky in her first duel, and the second duel something else happens, and she loses once to Toga and then schools him the second time.
Yep.
With a repeat of the broken sword thing, which was awesome. Anyway, so that's the first arc. The second arc is we are introduced to this genius student type who's running a thing for geniuses, apparently, who has a someone whom he very clearly cares deeply for. This is the gay necromancers of the Black Lantern.
Yeah.
Long story short, this arc should have been so much cooler than it was.
I like this arc. I think this arc is interesting, and it does some really cool stuff.
It does some really cool stuff. It does some.
It can be removed, and the show is no lesser for it.
Yes.
Essentially, this whole arc. Okay, there was a scientific research wing of the school. Okay, who were dedicated to researching this whole revolutionize the world kind of power and ability. And there was a great tragedy, which we don't find out until we get to the end. Everyone there dies, and this one guy, Mikage Soji, basically channels them, their spirits at the very least, into.
Yeah, they're all former duelists, and he has all of their corpses in a vault in his super secret science necromancy lair, where he grows black roses.
and he can use the roses to create a black ring, which is basically the mirror of what Utena wears. Put that ring on somebody, brainwash them enough, they get possessed by the duelist, and will basically, they will try and duel on Girl Utena for Anthe and the Rose Bride.
Because what he wants is to kill off Anthe so that he can replace Anthe with his boyfriend to be the new Rose Bride so that he can claim the power of eternity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because this is what they're fighting over, is the power of eternity, apparently.
Or at least what he perceives that they're fighting over.
Yes.
Yeah. The only catch to it is it's literally deal with the devil kind of situation. It also happens to be that he's like student counselor kind of situation, and students go to him with problems relating to people, and he will get them to dig
and he
deeper.
Puts them in the brainwash elevator confessional.
Yeah. They dig deeper and deeper into their psyches and finds out what it is they want. And eventually, it always comes down to, oh, well, I can see what you need. You need the power to revolutionize the world. Here, this is how you do it. And
there's exactly one character that doesn't work with.
Petty and mean and cruel that they want.
Right.
The one person that goes in the brainwash elevator confessional that comes out themselves is the guy who just wants his crush to be happy and not obsess over someone bad for her. And it's all right, you're useless, get out of here.
It's like, well, you're actually a good person. Fucking get out. But yeah, the key thing about this arc is that each and every single person that ends up going in there has a direct relationship to one of the actual rose duelists, as they're called.
Yep.
And we essentially get duel by proxy. The duels themselves are essentially the exact same that we've seen before,
except swimming in all sorts of weird, surreal imagery.
Yeah. So
as the duel arena reconfigures itself to throw up all sorts of weird symbolism involving both the person fighting, the person they are proxying, and the plot of the episode itself.
The first person that he does this with doesn't really have a direct connection to the duelists, and that is he hypothesizes that's the problem. They can't draw the power of one of the actual duelists who are alive. So what if we use someone who's connected to one of the duelists who is alive and use that connection to draw their spirit sword, the sword of their soul to fight with? That'll work in Unabethan too.
Like, for example,
well, we got 99, we got 98 more rings. All right.
One of the first ones is Mickey's sister, who we were introduced to.
Yep.
And basically, they've got this whole sibling thing going on where, Mickey, the whole thing about him playing piano, he used to like playing with his sister, and his sister was like, "Dude, I never really played piano. I just brushed the keys, and you did all the fucking work. I can't play piano." You were always the wonder kid. Everyone loved you. I was just there riding along and not being... Basically, utter jealousy, being milked out of her for it. And she pulls the soul sword out of Mickey and fights in Mickey's style with a copy of his sword. Yeah, it's basically just a reskins of...
There's also the fact that she, in addition to her immense jealousy of Mickey, she also loves him, to a creepy level.
There's conflict, yeah.
Yeah, which is, again, it's interesting, but weird. But yeah, that sort of thing is repeated over and over again. One of the interesting duelists that they end up having is Wakaba, who is the one whose character is there is proof that it's not just about the people being bad. It's that a lot of people have for most people, they have something deep and dark and petty in them that actually is not good for them. And what this guy is doing, Mikage. What is it, Mikage?
Mikage, because Mickey is the
right. So Mikage is doing is he's sort of drawing out that part of them, and he does that to Wakaba, and poor Wakaba.
That's also one of the few times where we see Anthe actually get involved in the duel.
Yes,
he's usually a passive spectator, and Anthe immediately goes, "You need to fight her. Draw the sword. Draw the sword now. Fine, I'll draw the sword."
Mizuno doesn't want to fight Wakaba for what we like to call Wakaba's her best friend reasons. She wants to try to talk her out of it because, again, Utena is the hero of the story. I mean,
Well, this one's a weird one because Wakaba's not actually going after Utena. She's jealous of Anthy because she wants Utena's attention. It's
No,
Anthy that she hates. And she
kinda.
uses and she's also got this mixed thing going on where she's been for various reasons. Saionji's been expelled and has been living with her, and she doesn't want him to leave because she knows if he goes back to school, he'll instantly forget about her and go back to being Saionji, the asshole.
The issue that Wakaba has with Anthy, it's twofold. One, her main crush Saionji is obsessed with her.
Mm-hmm.
Two, her best friend and maybe slight crush, I don't know, but definite best friend is very much involved with the same girl. And it's like, but the thing is, it's like overall, Wakaba actually likes Anthy. It's just that her feelings are being perverted by Mikage.
Yep.
Because she's not the normal duelist Mikage gets, but there is still something dark and twisted in there because she's been badly hurt. Because Mikage is an asshole.
She's been basically playing her like a fiddle.
But that's the thing, is that Saionji, that it wasn't Saionji being as callous as he usually is that was the nail. It was Mikage manipulating him into doing something hurtful that he didn't realize was happening.
Yes.
He was oblivious, which is 99% better than he usually is.
Yeah.
No,
He's being oblivious. He's hurting her just by being there and not being what she wants him to be.
and not telling her, and not overtly telling her that he can't be that for her. Because he's oblivious and doesn't realize that's what she feels for him.
Yeah, because he's oblivious. He doesn't realize that's how she feels, and he doesn't realize that just him being there is twisting a knife in her belly.
Right. This is the least assholish we see Saionji pretty much.
Yeah. He's almost sympathetic.
Almost. God, he's terrible.
I'll be perfectly honest with you. I've actually just remembered what the whole thing of it was. He was carving a hair clip for Wakaba as a present because that's all he knew how to do to say thank you for letting him stay with her. And Mikage showed up and said, "I will get you back into the school. I just need one favor from you." He's like, "Okay, what do you need?" That hair clip. All right. And the next thing Wakaba knows because of the way he's manipulated things, Anthy's walking around with that hair clip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he knew exactly which button to push.
Yep. Mikage's an asshole.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, so the arc ends with Utena dueling Mikage and winning. And this causes everything to basically fall into itself, and the arc basically never happened.
Yeah.
That said, the effects that the arc had on the characters, even if they don't remember the events, it did change them, a lot of them. Slightly. It definitely had an impact on Nanami, Mickey and his sister, and on
Jury.
On Jury. Yeah. Oh god, it had an effect on Jury. God, poor Jury.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jury. I want to talk about this because it is pretty interesting. Jury has this little habit of fingering with a locket that she's got. And it turns out that it's supposedly a picture of her crush during the school, the previous school she was at. And there was this huge breakup between her best friend and this guy over, relationships and all the rest of it. And for the longest time, everyone, basically it was believed that she broke up with this group because her best friend stole this guy from her.
Right. And her best friend wrote her a letter basically apologizing for basically saying, yes, I know this is a terrible, awful thing, and I've stolen him from you. But, and I intentionally broke him away from you by whispering lies about the fact that you didn't care about him. And, of course, the whole thing is that Jury actually was into her best friend, not the dude.
Yeah, the picture in a locket is a best friend.
And she's like, oh. So her friend hurt her more than she in a way more than she realized in a way she didn't realize. But that's absolutely but like it was still a dick move what she did.
Yeah.
It becomes more dick move when she comes back to school and is worse.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because she really thinks like, oh my god, it's awful. Like she's just awful to
She's a terrible person.
she really is. Jury, like she does not like Jury. You come to realize is basically a pretty good person overall. Like she's arrogant, but that's like her. The worst of her sins is she's arrogant and withdrawn and doesn't tell people what she actually feels for the most part.
Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, Mikage gets hold of her best friend, whose name escapes me. Shiori.
Shiori.
Yeah.
Mikage gets hold of her, draws out the that hidden like
venomous envy and hatred of Jury.
Yeah.
Because she's convinced that she's convinced that Jury is looking down on her constantly. Because Jury is more athletic, smarter, prettier.
Yeah. And thinks that she still can't get it out of her head that Jury doesn't care about the underhanded tactics and shit that she pulled on that dude. It's like, yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah. But you largely can remove that arc and doesn't really affect the story. It removes some of the explanation for some of the minor changes that happen to some of the characters, which are catalysts for bigger changes.
Yeah, it's the major turning point of Yuri's the beginning really of Yuri's story.
Yeah.
Going forward. But yeah, I mean. Oh, that's an interesting little thing as well, Peter. The English voice actress for Shiori.
Yeah.
Your favorite actress at the time?
Oh, it's Lisa Ortiz. Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Lisa Ortiz is a very good voice actress who did as good a job with Lena Inverse as she could with dubbing Leanne at the time. Yeah.
She's also actually one of the Greek choir as well.
Mm-hmm.
Greek chorus. That's kind of cool.
We watched it in Japanese, but yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. Tangents.
Yes.
That's what I do.
But so the third arc is where we get to know Akio, Anthony's big brother.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Oh boy. So yeah, it turns out he's the one who's this mysterious quote end of the world. The end of the world is this behind the scenes figure who is basically directing the duelists to do all this dueling stuff to get the power to revolutionize the world, etc. Blah 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 blah. Akio's the end of the world.
Yeah. Yeah. He's communicating them via letters. Akio's the end of the world. He's the school's
chairman? He's the chairman. He's the chairman. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's filling in for the actual chairman, who's the brother of the girl. He's the woman. It was his fiance.
Yeah.
Things get complicated, yo. So you remember how we mentioned that Toga is a playboy? And is like sleeping with all the girls on campus.
Ain't got nothing.
I think the sheer number of people that Akio's sleeping with is smaller than Toga. But with Toga, none of them are dating someone else, and nor is he engaged to somebody.
Toga does. Sanji or Toga is quantity in his callous and malicious fuckery. Akio has quality in his callous fuckery.
He is.
Yeah.
He is. Yeah. He is crueler than Toga.
Yeah. With Toga, it's like
something.
Yeah. Toga is like the I'm playing with my little dolls kind of thing. Akio is outright malicious.
He's pulling the wings off of flies.
Yes. Because it's not just getting his kicks, it's getting his physical kicks and then knowing exactly what it's going to do with the person afterwards.
Yeah. Well, the big difference is that Toga is he's a womanizer. He likes sleeping with pretty girls, but he's capable of actual emotion and forming actual connections with people. Akio is a psychopath.
Hmm? Yeah. Like I say, it's not about the actual act of cheating or sleeping with someone. It's about what it does to them afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got goals in mind, and he will do. Yeah. And he just enjoys screwing with everybody. I mean,
he doesn't care which weapon he uses. He just wants to see the wound.
Yeah, pretty much. So he's tapped. He's basically decides, okay, well, I'm going to use my abilities as the end of the world to show the student council eternity and something eternal, the end of the world, the actual end of the world, whatever this blah blah blah, to give them a power up so they can beat Utena and take Anthe back, and they keep losing. Huh. But it turns out so that's the third arc. Literally, the third arc is that Akio takes one of the student council out for a drive in his pink Cadillac, shows them the end of the world or what have you, or something eternal or whatever. Pick your term. It flip flops. They get a power up. They challenge Utena. And Utena schools them.
It's very much like the third arc again, except instead of having stand-ins, it's the actual student council that he's manipulating into inspiring to fight again.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
There's one other big change in this arc, which is notable. Beyond the fact that they discover there's an elevator in the middle of the pillar the pillar that the island is on, so that Utena no longer has to walk up all the stairs.
These fucking stairs onto heaven. It turns out there's a fucking elevator right there.
So during all of this, for every duel, Utena recites this little incantation, basically, where she says, "Grant me the power to revolutionize the world."
The power of Dios, the power to revolutionize the world.
Yeah, and pulls the blade of Dios out of Anthe. The same way we see Seonji in the first episode. The change is because the people are Akio is basically manipulating the student council to grab their partners to draw the blades out of them. Utena comes to it doesn't the sort of Dios breaks the first time this happens. So Anthe pulls the blade from Utena and says, as Utena says, "Grant us the power to revolutionize the world."
It's not just Utena says it; they say it together.
Yes.
There is a point actually that the Utena does lose a duel, and I think it is to Seonji.
It's Toga.
It's a Toga, and that's I forget who Toga's partner is in that. I think it's one of the girls he's fucking. And it's where they break the sword of Dios.
Yes.
The original magic sword.
So Utena, it's a really cool it's a little subtle touch that Anthe is beginning to change. And from that point forward, she is definitely more. She's a little bit less demure, and she actually expresses opinions occasionally. It's and it's also very. This is also from this point forward. It's very clear Anthe cares deeply for Utena. Unfortunately, this does not carry all the way through till we'll get to that.
Yeah.
So, but that's the major part of this arc. The other sort of something that starts going on towards the end of it is Akio moves Utena and Anthe into his residence so he can be closer to his sister for totally not skeevy reasons.
They're very skeevy reasons.
Oh, boy. Yeah. Yeah. But he's using this he's slowly trying to drive a wedge between Utena and Anthe, and eventually realizes the way to do it isn't so much through Anthe as it is to seduce Utena.
Yeah.
For two reasons. One is it turns out he's the prince who actually saved Utena originally. he's the one who gave her ring. And 2,
This is something that is hinted at and built up to for the entire arc, but isn't actually revealed to the last episode.
no, it's revealed before that. Oh, sorry, it's not revealed to Utena at that point. It was revealed to us before that.
Well, that's because we know how to do basic math, unlike anyone else.
No, there's a scene where we actually see Aki. It's where it's the whole storytelling thing with the play. When Utena starts having the flashbacks.
Yes.
Utena starts having flashbacks that she sort of mostly forgets. Long story, it gets really weird at this point. But so basically, we have the final duel, the final sort of major duel, and if Utena beats Toga in this one, she wins. She will get the ability to go through the Rose Gate and claim the power to revolutionize the world, etc., which Utena doesn't really care about. But Toga at this point has sort of figured out that Akio's up to something shady, and he's also realized that I actually have legit feelings for Utena. Fuck. And I really don't deserve her. Fuck. Fuck, I'm an asshole. Okay. Fuck. What the fuck can I do? And he comes to he comes to a conclusion where he's actually doing something that he thinks is actually doing something good for someone else for once. He's wrong. Because of course he is, but it's a step in the right direction for him for once. Whereas he basically challenges Newton to the duel, and he basically puts things like, this will be the end of the duels, no one's going to come after you after this. If you win, you get Anthe, we're done. If I win, you'll go out with me. And Newton is like, the fuck? And he's like, and he's doing it because this will give him the ability to protect her from Akio. This is his plan. Because the thing that he's realized is that Akio very much doesn't want, Akio wants to possess Utena, but not who Utena is, just what Utena represents, I think, to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Also, he very much wants the Utena as the sort of stereotypical fairy princess, not the, tomboyish knight that she sort of is.
Mm.
And the implication I get is that Toga realizes that the Utena he's fallen for is not the princess.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the realization with Aki. It's the moment he has that realization is when Aki's talking about how much prettier she is when she's all feminine, and you can see Toga's going, but I really dig her in that jacket and pants. Oh fuck.
Shit.
Oh, I'm the asshole.
Shit.
Oh, I'm such an asshole. Fuck, and I actually do like her. Fuck. Oh, what the hell do I do now? So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. Utena and Anthe kind of a sort of a falling out because we find out sort of the big reveal we find out is that Anthe and so Akio is sort of the original one prince, the prince, the defender of the women in peril. And so he's sort of the prince of myth and legend, with the power of Dios to protect those who need protecting. And over time, he basically was asked to rescue every princess, every sister who's been kidnapped by bandits or threatened by a dragon or what have you, and it's wearing him down. And his sister, Anthe, basically tells off everyone who's coming after them to, basically stops them from bothering him when he needs to recover because it's going to kill him. And at this point, everyone turns on her and bad shit happens. I'm not sure how much of it is actually happens and how much of it's metaphysical because the show gets weird at this point.
It's very weird.
At this point,
Anthe is literally crucified on rose vines and thorns.
Also swords.
Also swords. Lots of swords.
They're like blades protruding from it's.
Yeah.
And so we get this thing where Akio basically Utena is basically alone in the world. What Akio saved Utena from is that she was alone. She basically her parents died. She's alone in the world, and she had basically just given up because everybody she cared about was gone. And she was just content to just to rot away and die. And he basically pulled her out of that and showed her, that it effectively. He was being kind of an ass and showing her that, yeah, you don't have it that bad, kid. See, look at my sister. Because he showed her Anthony and basically told her that he's, trying to save her and such. And Utena, being Utena, decides at that point that's when she decides she wants to become a prince to save Anthony. Because someone's got to save her because this night dude says that he's not sure he can. Because he's been kind of broken by all of this. Though he doesn't say that. And this is where he gives her the ring, and basically, if she tells her that she remains of noble heart, she'll eventually, the ring will bring her to him. Which it does. Yeah. So, but yeah, Utena and him and Anthony basically have a bit of a falling out because Utena finds out what's been going on between Anthony and her brother. And Anthony is also aware of that fact that Utena and her brother are also sleeping together, though not as much.
Well, she walks in on them, so
yeah,
which is I'm certain done intentionally by Akio to further drive the wedge between them.
I've been reading the wiki, and apparently for the anime they toned it down, but apparently Anthony had a habit of quite freely sleeping with pretty much anyone who was or is or has been the betrothed of the Rose Bride.
Oh yeah, no, that was implied.
Yeah, there's plenty of that. She's No,
it's very much implied that
full advantage of that.
Yeah, because she will do whatever the person who's the current champion wants.
Mm-hmm.
So if they want to sleep with her, she'll do it because she has no agency.
Right.
Because she's been broken, like she's been shattered by overgiving, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But she's, so basically Utena basically comes into, goes to the Rose Gate, and Akio basically sort of reveals all his sort of illusionary bullshit magic trickery shit that he's got going on. And basically has her, her in this sort of, princess dress and such, and it basically explains that he's, basically at this point, now we can actually, you give me the sword of Dios, and I can open the door, and we'll go through it, and we'll be able to go to eternity together, and we'll be together forever, you and I. And Utena's like, that's nice. What about Anthony? What about her?
She's the Rose Bride. She'll be there forever. It's what she chose.
And which is Utena's wait. No, fuck no. Nuh-uh. She's your sister. You should care more about that. B, she's my friend, so fuck that. And she challenges him to a duel. And he basically points out that we're not doing sort of this duel contest thing. This is going to be a real duel, and you're not ready for that. And for a while, that's the case. But see, the thing that he doesn't realize, and he never figures out, is the power of Dios has chosen someone, and it ain't him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Utena starts schooling him, and eventually she starts beating him, and he grabs Anthony to throw her in the way, and Utena basically takes Anthony, puts her behind her to protect her, and then Anthony stabs her in the back. Because Anthony is still very much conflicted and broken and doesn't really understand her own feelings at this point.
Because Anthony's still in the thrall of her position as the Rose Bride,
yep.
And who's the original prince?
Yep.
Akio. He takes precedence over Utena as far as for lack of a better term, geese is concerned.
Yep.
She even says that she doesn't, she can't accept a girl as a prince. That's one of the things that Akio has been telling her the entire time, and and she back, she reiterates that as she fucking stabs her in the back.
And so Akio takes the Sword of Dios and goes to open the Rose Gate and fails miserably.
To the point where the Sword of Dios breaks.
Yeah.
Again. But yeah,
there's a literal storm of swords going on.
Yes, and which Anthe is protecting him from because that is the job of the Rose Bride. Utena gets up, and it's very clear that Utena's like, yeah, Utena basically at almost exactly the same point as Akio breaks the sword and says, "Well, this attempt failed. I guess I'll have to try run this whole thing again and get a working sword, get a better Sword of Dios to do this with. We'll try it again because it's very clear that this has happened before at this point." Yeah. But at the exact same time that he's turned around and given up, Utena's gotten up and is moving towards the door.
There is a great bit where he's walking back, like he, as much of an asshole as he is, none of it is ever personal with him. Everyone's just tools.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like when she's staggering forward, bleeding from her chest, gaping wound in her back, well through her chest as well, and like staggering towards the door, he's walking back. And he's like, she starts to stumble, and he goes to catch her. He says, "Look, there's no point doing this. Come back. We'll see what can." And she just like palms his face. She's like, "Get the fuck off me!"
I love Utena so goddamn much.
Just keeps fucking walking for the door.
And he's like, "Okay, whatever.
Suit yourself."
At which point she starts trying to open the door with her bare hands. And Akio's like, "That's not gonna work." And it's working. Oh God, it's working. No,
stop! You need to stop because it's no longer a door; it's a coffin.
Yeah, well, what happens is this is the whole thing. So when he found Utena, she was laid in, like, for whatever reason, when her parents died, there was a third coffin, and she was hidden in that coffin. She was hidden in there, and it became a metaphor for her. She was hidden in her coffin and couldn't really accept life and all this sort of stuff. And Anthe was also trapped within her own metaphysical coffin kind of situation. And yeah, the door that he's been trying to open suddenly changes to a coffin set to the background of the prison thing where Anthe is held. And he's like, "Oh shit, no," and starts running back towards her until he just pauses for a moment. He's like, "Wait, why don't I hear swords anymore?" Oh fuck. Because it turns out that by breaking the seal, by opening the thing,
Anthe's not in a position to defend anyone from the Storm of Swords anymore.
Yeah,
right, because now she's in the coffin, and Anthe's there, curled up inside the coffin, yelling at Utena to stop. "Please don't. This won't work. You'll only hurt yourself."
The thing is, like, the power to revolutionize the world is all well and good if you're thinking in grand scales. But in that moment, it all comes down to what Utena is wanting to revolutionize.
She's trying to save one person.
Yes.
Yep. And Akio
as far as
never
concerned, she fails because
But yeah, long story short, is Utena gets
they're on breaks and the coffin falls into the void, and the last shot we see of Utena is her like lying down with her head over the bridge, reaching for the coffin, going, "Fuck, I guess I couldn't do it anyways." Anyway, and it fades to black.
Yeah, so basically, she reaches the coffin to try to pull Anthe out. Anthe is like refusing to do it because part of her is like it still has that Utena can't be my prince, can't be my. Fuck it, she is. There's a moment you see, it really is, you can see completely crystallized that Anthe realizes that the feelings she has for Utena are actually legit.
And that, yes, and she reaches for Utena, and that's when the coffin falls off the bridge.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then Utena's so you see the coffin fall, and Utena's all broken because she's like, I couldn't save her. And the storm of swords basically obliterates everything. And we're back at the school after a bit. And people reminiscing about Utena, and they've sort of quasi forgotten about Utena.
Yeah, she's sort of passed into half-remembered legend at this point.
Oddly enough, though, we're back not just in the school, we're back in the same office that Mikage was in for his arc. That building
Yep.
is rebuilt. So it's again, and I know he said earlier when I was going on about the characters, but it reset to 0.
Yep.
So like everything went back to the beginning. The building that had burnt down was rebuilt. Akio was there as the chairman of the school, and Anthony's there stood in front of him.
Yep.
And Akio starts laying out the plans as well. Okay, well this time round, I guess
Well, an important note is there are two things of note. One, Akio is very clearly like, we're trying this again. The other thing is we see the student council again. They're slightly different. You can tell their attitudes have changed somewhat since this loop around.
Mm-hmm.
Jury and Mickey seem a lot more centered. Nanami does not seem like she's really interested in the whole sort of dueling thing anymore, because
during the fight with Akio, the student council's there is like, well, I guess it's over because they'll revolutionize the world. So we should get rid of the rings? No, we should hold on to them just in case. And Nanami's immediate response is, already got rid of mine.
Yeah.
Because she's like, no, I'm done. This is stupid. But she's figured out all of this is bullshit and Akio's an asshole. And she's right. So Akio's saying they're talking about like the new plans, at which point you see God, I love this. Anthony takes her glasses off, puts them down on the table, and basically says, I'm done. Bye. I'm going to go look for Utena.
We're leaving. I'm leaving.
And Akio's like, what? She's like, yeah, if you want to stay stuck here in the school, that's your problem. I'm leaving. I'm going to go find Utena. Wait, what? But what? Because Utena has actually successfully saved Anthony. More accurately, she got Anthony to the point where Anthony can save herself.
Yes.
And now Anthony has decided she's going to go find Utena and tell her how she actually feels. And, save Utena if she needs to, because,
Yeah, we're not exactly sure what happened.
Utena's gone. Anthony knows that Utena's gone, but she's going to find her, goddammit. Even if she's, doesn't exist anymore. That's not going to stop Anthony. Because fuck that noise. And that's basically the series. There is apparently a movie which I've seen clips from. Let's just say they take advantage of the fact that it was a movie and not on regular television to do a few things a little bit more overtly, shall we say.
Yeah.
But it's very much about Anthony going out and finding Utena and basically saving, from what I can tell, basically actually saving Utena from herself, because I don't know exactly what's happened, but the student council's back, because of course they are.
Of course they are.
But I've not actually watched the movie in it. I've not watched the movie in and of itself yet, so my gut feeling is, yeah, I think you're right, Eric. I think Utena's trapped in the cycle again, and Anthony's there to save her. Although Utena has short hair in it, which is interesting. But that's Revolutionary Girl Utena. I
don't think we talked enough about motherfucking Fulgrim.
Well, yeah, we should talk a little bit about Akio a bit more in detail. But like, I wanted to we've gotten through the basic story, and there's a lot of details we've left out that are important, but I don't want to really dive into them too deeply because we'll be here all goddamn night, because there is a lot of stuff you can break down.
There's so much you can break down. Like I should have been taking notes during this, honestly.
Honestly, I honestly feel that this is one of those shows that if you rewatch it and actually study it, there's a lot more going on than it seems like there is at first.
Yes, no, I should have been taking notes. I should have been rewatching certain scenes. Like, yeah, no, I can't give a proper analysis of this because it's dense like fucking stellar matter.
And it is not interested in making it easy for you to figure this shit out.
Yeah.
No.
It does not care if you don't figure out what it's doing. It is a long series, they said, and it meanders. And
that's my biggest That's
Yeah.
my big. This is a very '90s show.
It is.
That
If
was good to reuse animation assets all the time because everything was hand drawn. They're on a motherfucking budget. And it's plotted like a '90s show in that it will meander and go off on weird tangents and take its time going places when it feels like and just sort of grind to a halt in places and then rapid fire through other things and others. It's yeah. It's a yeah.
But
we
it
need, we, need we need a show that we can show weekly for the next 9 months. Got anything?
I will say this. It does sort of what a lot of shows in that era did, like Outlaw Star, where it will take time to basically go off and do something that's not directly plot related, that's just there for fun, and might give you a little bit of insight into some of the characters. But whatever. And Outlaw Star did that a bunch, and then they realized that they had 26 episodes, and they had 3 episodes to resolve the plot, and it's like, Utena apparently didn't have a cap. Didn't have a 26 episode cap. So when they went off and wandered off did shit, they just did it, and they didn't have to rush their ending. So I actually kind of respect that, but it could be tightened up.
Yeah.
Like as we said, that second arc can largely be cut.
It's like I think what you said when we're done. It's like if this was made today.
Oh yeah.
Quite easily a 24 episode show.
Yeah, 24, 26, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
I will say this. It wouldn't be much shorter. Could not be much shorter than 24. There is too much actually going on.
There is too much actually going on, but like that second arc, you could quite easily roll it in with.
Oh yeah.
You
could drop the second arc in its almost in its entirety and roll some of the stuff from it as flashbacks. Or take some of the plot of the character development elements and roll them into other parts of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole thing with Yuri, you could do that as a setup with what's her name? Sayori coming back to school, and the reintroduction of her the former the former dueling captain, fencing captain. There's a little sort of mini arc with that. You could have added in all the full backstory in there and Yuri's conflict with Sayori and all that stuff. You did it didn't have to be in the arc with Mikage.
Mm-hmm.
I like the Mikage arc. I think we all enjoyed that.
Yeah,
but it's not necessary.
No, you can totally cut the Mikage's arc. As interesting as it is, and as wonderfully weird and frankly twisted as it is.
Yep.
But it's wholly unnecessary. Almost wholly unnecessary.
It's like again, Naname's like Arc 2 and Arc 3 of Naname. Both of them are based around Toga paying attention to somebody else.
Yep.
No,
there's but the interesting thing about it is it sinks in different ways. There's a lot of stuff that is repetitive, but it's the same sort of actions happen, but have different effects.
The first arc, all 3 arcs that she gets involved is because she's jealous of.
Yes, and her and she ends where she is as a character is at the end of those arcs is different each time, despite the fact that it's the same basic arc, and is as Eric quite nicely put it. It is the cycle repeating over and over again.
Yeah, it's structured like the Epic of Gilgamesh or Beowulf. It's the same basic arc over and over again with the different results as things change.
Which is again, feeds
that whole mythic fairy tale thing that the whole show has going on for it.
Yeah, I totally understand it being. I totally get where you're coming from on this guy. Don't get me wrong.
No, I kind of agree with Gav.
Yes,
honestly,
I do too.
I agree with Gav from like a purely aesthetic point of view, like from an enjoyment point of view. But I see what the creators are doing.
Yeah, same. That's exactly where I am.
Like this is what I mean. It's like like I said earlier. My main problem with a lot of the characters is there's very little development with the vast majority of them. Yes, by the end of it, you get to realize that's the point. But by episode fucking 32, when nothing's changed, I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, this again. And okay. By the full extent of the story, fine, it explains that, and it's like, yeah, we are literally going around in circles, and it's going over and over again. Repetition is the point, circular theory. But it's like, yeah, okay, that's great. But from somebody trying to watch a fucking show.
Yes, and I agree with you.
Yeah,
That's
that's the reason we all agree this show needs to be the show would benefit from being pruned, because they could keep the same theme of repetition and cycles, but do it in a shorter period of time, so that you get to the meat of you get to the realization that that's going on sooner.
Yes,
that would have helped a lot, is realizing that there's actually an intent and structure to it being this repeated cycle over and over again. If that had been made more clear earlier, even the end of the second arc with the destruction of Mikage's seminar and everyone forgetting everything, that in retrospect is entirely in theme with the story and makes goddamn sense, but God, it was frustrating at the moment.
Yes.
Because, oh God, it was all just a dream. That's stupid. But then looking back at it after the end of the show, I'm like, God damn, that's actually kind of brilliant. It's frustrating still, and you can still cut it, but I get what they're doing now. Fuck. As I said after the end of that final episode, the writing of that final episode is of a high enough quality to make me actually angry about the rest of the show.
Yes.
Because, you guys can write this well, and you meander for the rest of it. For large parts of it. If the writing was this tight throughout the entire show, it would be 26 episodes.
Yeah.
I'm certain you could keep all 4 arcs in a 26 episode show if you really tried.
I think pretty much any modern show would have done so.
Yeah. Again, it is showing its age a bit.
Yeah.
But it's
all when it comes at least it's not the fucking Endless 8.
God, that was chutzpah on their part, on the Haruhi people's part. Oh my God.
Jesus Christ, those are some balls, especially considering they reused 0 animation assets. I know, I watched it all and paid attention.
God damn that. So at any rate, yeah. Utena's But so yeah, Akio, I do want to talk. We should talk a little bit more about Akio a bit. Him being there are 2 characters we really should talk about a bit more.
Yes.
I'd love to talk more about Anthe, but there's almost all of her who she really is doesn't show up until the last few episodes.
Yeah.
But that's the point. Again,
she's locked in the box.
Yeah, literally. It's almost like she's locked in a closet or something.
Yeah.
No, there are no metaphors here. Shut up.
To find her true self. I wonder what that could be a metaphor for.
Not at all. Don't know. Nope. But Utena and Akio are both characters that I think deserve to be talked about a bit more.
Yes.
And why don't you? I want you to start with Akio, Eric, because you seem like you want to talk about Akio a bit.
So, Akio, I find to be a really interesting, compelling villain. In that I both admire his detached cruelty and, let's face facts, fabulousness. At the same time, want to shove his face in a blender.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
For a great fucking villain.
Oh no, and
this guy oozes superficial style. He when he's driving people around, seducing them to be his proxies in his pink Cadillac on the highway in the middle of the night, the empty highway in the middle of the night. He gives them long, flowery speeches while driving along, which touch on their insecurities and why they should work for him. And then he does a fucking backflip over the windshield, takes a friggin' Victoria's Secret pose on the hood with his shirt open, with one arm over the windshield, still driving.
Apparently, it's an automatic.
The dude has fucking style.
Got cruise control.
He has style for days and more charisma that is actually safe.
Yeah, you see,
I worry about getting him and Dio Brando in the same room.
Oh Lord, no.
Dear Lord, they'd never leave.
Well,
it's been too much time posing at each other.
The thing is, again, just to shed some light on this, I mean, I've again, once again, I've been reading the wiki, and dear Lord, with quite a lot of these characters, it's not just the movie that took a lot of liberties. By the sounds of it, the movie is more loyal to the actual original manga than the TV show was. The TV show was really fucking like neutered for TV, obviously.
Yeah, they were hamstrung by being a TV series in the 90s.
Let me just read this passage. This is the explanation that somebody's written up for Akio in regards to in the manga, not the movie, the manga.
Right.
In the manga, Akio and Dios are two separate gods, the former having killed the latter in order to gain his power. Akio's given name is derived from the Japanese meaning Venus, the morning star.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, he is absolutely. That was something I actually wanted to bring up. I think he's actually referred to as Lucifer at one point.
He talks about the morning star and Lucifer during the one thing where they're talking about the constellations and such in the planetarium.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh no, he's the devil, literally.
Yeah.
And then again a secondary passage again. This is more for the film, but again, Dios is the lord of the flies, rendered in human form by Anthe's magic. Akio is dead, having thrown himself out of a window after realizing Anthe was lucid when he drugged and her.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of fucking layers going on here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, yes, and one of the things, Akio has such, he plays at being this charismatic but bland and milquetoast guy in front of when he's not being Fulgrim, Primarch of the Emperor's Children, and Fairy Lord, because he is.
Dude's the prince of the Unseelie Court, I swear to fucking God.
Yes, absolutely. and just everything he says and does is... He's almost up there with Cubed, the way he plays with words.
Oh,
and
he basically never lies, and he never tells anything that is technically false, but he's lying constantly.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And more to that, everything he says and does is specifically crafted to inflict some sort of pain, if not immediately, then down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all manipulation.
Is cruelty, but is never gauche enough to be caught cackling.
Again, Fey Prince.
Yes.
Literally, he's a fairy. In all the old world,
old scary fairy tales kind of way.
Yeah. His beauty is terrible, and it like there's no arguing. The dude, he's a pretty man. But
he's everything he does is constructed in such a way to not only benefit himself but to inflict pain on others.
Yep.
If not immediately, then down the road. He's oozes malicious style. There's nothing about him that isn't. He's like, how to describe him? He's like oily broken glass, really pretty, really sharp, and will give you an infection if you touch him.
Yeah, he's. I will also say there is.
I don't want to call him a blade because it's underselling him.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. He's just fascinating, and the comment about him and Dio Brando being in the same room, I do think the authors did draw some inspiration from Dio with him.
Oh, absolutely.
As I'm saying, yes, Dio
no
predates him.
No one poses habitually that way without being inspired by Dio in some way.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he did pull off a couple of Dio poses at one
Almost
point.
certainly.
Oh yeah.
Like again, I'm not positive, but like the level to which JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is influential in Japan cannot be understated.
Mm-hmm.
Like by the way, for listeners who are in the States, and you think that JoJo is is become sort of super over memed and a bit maybe oversaturated or something or what have you, even if you love JoJo, realize JoJo still doesn't have the market penetration in the United States that it has in Japan, and it's always had in Japan. It is like the second or third biggest property in Japan, behind basically One Piece.
One final thing about Akio.
Yep.
Akio is an elf. He is the epitome of elf.
Yes.
This is coming from me, who, if you don't know, fucking hates elves.
They never just stand and fight you. I'm always going to do it from like
pretty little pricks.
I'm going to do it from like 50 yards away.
So arrogant and hubristic.
They have the audacity to actually back it up to back up most of their arrogance.
I know.
Not all of it.
Which just makes it all the more annoying.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I said,
bragging at you and then actually fucking back it up.
He is everything I despise in elves distilled into a single form and made into an excellent villain.
Yes. But yeah, he is a fairy. Do not trust him. Like, but before we get to our final thoughts, I do want to talk a bit more about Utena herself, because God, I love Utena. Like, she is one of my favorite female protagonists I've come across in quite some time. Because she's a goddamn badass, and not just because she can fight. Like, I really respect her simultaneous ability to be like incredibly strong, and like you actually see her that she does have weaknesses, and her ability to move through them eventually. Like, it takes time. Like, she breaks down a couple of times, but she bounces back each time in believable ways, and I really like that about her as a character. It's hard for me to put into words exactly what it is about her that I really, really like, but
Utena is the rock around the entire show revolves around.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, she is very much an outsider in this, but also very much our perspective on it.
Yep.
And therefore everything revolves around her. Like, she doesn't change a great deal through the show. She learns more about what's going on and reacts to things, but always reacts the way that Utena in the beginning would react.
Yep.
And again, that's because she's our rock. She's the piece that holds everything together for the show.
She figures some things out about herself as she goes that she's not aware of, but none of that really changes who it's things that she finds out about herself she doesn't realize is that this is who she is, but it doesn't fundamentally change who she is.
As much as Akio tries.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I like about it, is Akio reveals some things about Utena that she's not aware of about herself, and it doesn't fundamentally change her, but she just sort of accepts it and basically slots it as, yep, that's part of me, and I'm not going to let that change who I really am. Because, fuck you, I'm protecting my friends. Fuck you, I care a lot. I care about Anth. Like, yes, I'm attracted to you, and I got complicated feelings for you, but no, we're not screwing over Anthe. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, I really like that about I like getting, like, I like the fact in this show of utter bastards, because there's so many of them.
There's so many of them.
We actually have this actually, like, she's a classic heroic prince is what it boils down to. You know, but she has flaws, but you know, they are, and they do cause her a problem too. I like the fact that the flaws that she does have aren't just like cosmetic ones. They actually cause serious problems.
I think the thing that I also like with it is that the show's at least subtle enough. Like she's never really part of the student council themselves,
right?
But she's one of the duelists, which all the student council are, so she hangs out with them a lot. But there's enough subtlety there that she hangs around with Mickey a lot because Mickey's a good guy. He's quick to become friends, and she's happy to get along with him. But she hangs out with Jury every now and again because Jury's mostly okay. She keeps herself distant every now and again, and she'll wander off, and she's not always there when everyone else is. Nanami, to a degree, it's antagonistic, but they'll hang out. Saionji and Toga just fuck off and do it. It's not like, oh, she's part of this group now, so she must hang out with this group and only this group, and then other people.
She has friends outside the student council, which I think is really
yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's got friends outside. She's got friends within. She's got people she doesn't hang around with within the council. It's not a case of they're not in the round table situation all the time.
Right.
They have to get along, but are antagonist. It's not like a group sort of thing. It's high school. It's actually
yeah.
The actual social circle that she develops is actually fairly clever.
Yeah, I agree. I love her relationship with Wakaba also.
Yes.
It's hilarious. Like I am 95% sure Wakaba does have like a thing for Utena, which is entirely like Utena very clearly cares about Wakaba as a friend, but that's sort of it. But she is completely okay with Wakaba's sort of overt affection, and like it's like yeah, that's just who Wakaba is. Why it doesn't hurt me any? Why do I care? I'm friends with Wakaba, and that is how Wakaba is. Okay, as long as it's not as long as she doesn't knock me out a fucking window. Wakaba, don't glop me when I'm leaning on the window, please, dear Lord. But yeah, I also just there's just something about her. I love the I just there's something about her that just is she's one of my favorite sort of female heroes we've come across in this meandering series of podcasts we've done. I mean, she's not my favorite. That's still Lena, but I goddamn love Lena in verse. But I really like Utena a lot. She's just something about her character I just dig. I think she's really cool.
No, there's a lot to like about Utena. Like, excellent character design, great.
Oh yeah, the character design's phenomenal. I love her jacket. Like Jesus.
Yeah.
And yeah, it would be very easy for her to drop into that Mary Sue kind of role, but they do a good job, like you say, of leaving her just vulnerable enough.
That's the thing is she almost never loses, but like it never feels like, with the one exception of the one duel with Yuri, it never feels cheap. The second duel, Yuri realizes what's going on and surrenders.
Yes.
She realizes that like she's not.
Well, he's got Utena dead to rights.
Yeah.
And like, no, I know what's going on. I'm done.
Yeah.
The only problem I have with the duels is the duels seemed absolutely secondary to the considering the amount of like focus they seem to have in the show. They were very much. I mean, I know it's of the time. It's a lot of reuse footage. Even within the same fight, it's like the same thing looped 3 or 4 times, begin finishing animation, which we've seen 8 times, fight done. And it's like, okay, I can forgive that, but they do kind of seem very dismissive of the actual combat, which is fair enough. It's not that kind of show,
right?
But they're not. If you're looking at this as like a shoujo battle series, it's not that.
It weirdly it is, but it isn't. I think here's the thing. It is a shoujo battle series, which means the focus isn't on the battles.
Yes, you can say you're not going to get One Piece levels of combat.
No, of course not, because it's not a shonen. It's not a shonen series.
Right.
Well, yeah. Saying that, yeah, it does have a lot in common with shows like Sailor Moon.
Yeah. Reused assets.
Yeah, reused assets. One finishing animation that takes 3 days to happen, but then wins. Yeah.
I mean, it's got a similar thing with the Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
A lot of reused assets.
Well,
but yeah. Oh, I remember the one thing I wanted to mention about Utena, about the whole Power of Dios thing, is Utena is the only character in the duels who is fighting for someone other than herself.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
She's the only person who gets in any of these sword fights who's fighting for anyone other than themselves,
There are one or two that claim they are, but
they're not.
It's down
And
to
that's why
not.
Jury surrenders in the second fight. Is she realizes she went in thinking she's fighting for someone else and realizes, no, I'm fighting for myself. Fuck. I'm doing exactly what I. Fuck. Utena has won not because she's better swordsman, but because she's right. And I can't. While I will win the sword fight, I will lose the war, which I'm actually fighting, which is not against her. Fuck that noise. I surrender. And that's the thing that Akio doesn't realize in the final battle with Utena. And when he takes the Sword of Dios to go open the door, he doesn't realize that it won't work for him because he's using it for himself, not for someone else. That's the whole fucking point.
He's got himself believing that he's doing it so he can reclaim his power and become the prince to protect the world again, but he's not. He is, but he's doing it for himself.
But he's not even saying that anymore. What he's saying is what he wants when he gets to the Rhodes Gate is eternity with his princess.
Yes.
And he says not a word about trying to save the world anymore.
Well, no,
he doesn't care. Yeah, he wants eternity.
He wants eternity. Not again. Akio has been lying the entire goddamn show.
Yeah,
hey, he's correct. He's factually they will gain the power of eternity, and that could be used to revolutionize the world. They're not going to keep it. He's the one who's going to be using it to give himself eternity. This is I really, really, really like that the resolution of that, where you realize that exactly how much Akio's been lying about the entire time. It's again it takes too long to get there. Is the problem? But I really love the fact just the realization that it's it's something that it didn't really sink in on me until basically the second run with the second time through the student council, that was really what was going on with Utena. Is it was there, but it was the moment when the change in the incantation to we that it really clicked in with me.
Yeah,
that I knew of course she's fighting for Anthony, but I didn't realize exactly how important that was until that moment. And the whole bit where Akio took the sword, I knew that it wasn't going to work for him because
he's not fighting for anyone but his own selfish desires.
Right. Of course it's not going to work. The power that he used to have, which the reason he thinks it's going to work is it's his power originally. But he abandoned that power and is no longer he no longer wants the power for what the power was for. The power was for protecting and helping others. That is how he was as the first prince.
Yes, exactly. I'm glad you're putting this into words because I've been trying to figure out how to do so.
So he's no longer the first prince. He's Akio, and he doesn't see that, and that is his big failing. Is he doesn't realize the power there's a meaning to what the power had, and
once again he's Lucifer.
Yes, exactly.
It's almost like he had the power of eternity and then gave it up for his own selfish goals
to reign in hell.
It's an again. If this show was
Akio's a really great villain.
Oh my god, he's so good. And Utena's is a perfect hero for him to be the antagonist for.
Yes.
In so many ways, down to the whole, her color scheme is literally color flipped because he's always he's all in white. She's in dark colors.
Yes, he's always in white and red. Whether it's red or white is primary, it doesn't matter. Utena's always in black. Always in
black is her primary color.
Black is her primary. The rest of the student council is generally everyone else is generally wearing white and green.
Yep.
With
the exception of Nanami, who wears yellow.
Yes, but Akio is the devil, and he wears red. He wears red and white.
So good. but yeah, the just like they. So at any rate, we should probably start wrapping. But I wanted to get that out and just like that sort of and like so there's the colors thing. There's the whole, Akio is all about the stereotypical male prince defending the princess. Utena is the antithesis of that.
Yes.
And especially in that, like, she has these traditionally masculine traits about her, but she is very clearly still a woman.
Yes.
She's still a girl. Like, I'm still a girl. There's no arguing about this. Like, she's still like.
There are several times people remark when she does something particularly feminine. It's like, well, you're being girlish today. Well, I am a girl.
Like but it's like there's this thing about it. Like, despite the fact that she's a tomboy, she is still very feminine in her own way, which I think is interesting. Is that she's able to she's basically pointing out that all these sort of masculine things are the gender identity of them is complete fucking bullshit in this story. The desire to protect others has nothing to do with gender, is the whole point.
Well, they're both Well, Una is very much like the archetypical modern woman, while Anthony is very much like the like old world idealized ideal woman, in that she's passive. She does whatever she's told. Sits there and looks pretty. Well, Una is very much like self-actualized. She's knows what she wants. She goes and gets it.
Mm-hmm.
While still being very caring and empathetic.
Yep.
It's
But I like the fact that like a lot of things that are ascribed as being masculine traits by other people in the show, Utena's like that. What does that have to do with whether I'm male or female? Like, fuck you. Fuck you, I'm me. Shut up. Like, being a kid, I really, really admire just how much of a, again, she's a badass in her own way, and I love that. In addition to, winning every sword fight she's in because, she has the power of being the one true hero on her side at this point.
Because she can channel the prince.
Yep.
The real prince, what Akio left behind.
Yep. At any rate, we should probably wrap things up. So we should get into final thoughts on things. Since it was your selection, Eric, you get the final word. Gav, then me, then Eric.
Right. Yeah, I mean, so for me, I've kind of summed up going through this. It is a show worth watching. Just to try, just to bottom line, really, this isn't a Gav show.
Right.
Mostly because, and I don't mind, bringing the story together at the end and all that kind of thing. But for me, it just wandered a little bit too much. And 30-odd episodes is a long time to expect an audience to stay with you before you start actually, oh, by the way, this is what's happening. It was entertaining enough to stay with it. But it was that's the main problem is it comes down to the pacing and how long it's an ask to go through this.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't lie, some weeks when we sat down to do this, it was starting to feel a bit like a chore.
Fair enough.
I wasn't enjoying it. The characters are fine. The characters, like I said, some of them are a little bit more stereotype. They're not stereotype, archetypes.
Mm-hmm.
That suddenly develop a personality at the end, which, again, that's great. There's a reason for that. It took me 35 episodes to find that out. And I enjoyed it for what it was, but I think I could enjoy it a lot better if it had a lot of the fat cut off it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think. I mean, I really like this. It's not one of my favorites. But as I said, I really respect the sort of chutzpah it took to actually do what they did with the show, and to take that much time to do what they did. I do think it would be served. It would be served by being tightened up. Yeah. I really, really, really. There's a lot about the show I admire immensely. And I really enjoyed a lot of it. Also, I do think I have more patience than Gav for long meandering storytelling. It's just I know that I have more patience for that sort of storytelling in movies than a lot of people do, because I grew up with sort of the way movies were made in the 70s, which were a lot slower paced than modern movie making, for example.
See, I don't mind slow storytelling as long as I'm being given.
Oh no, I get, but my point is, I'm
breadcrumbs, you
just
know what
saying,
I mean?
I have a higher tolerance for that in general than a lot of people. I'm not clearly in the case of Utna, I've got more tolerance for it than you do, Gav. That's like, it bothers me less, but it bothers me to a degree because I do agree it would be better if it was tighter. But like again, like I'm used, like there's an element of this sort of the way the story's told that I'm used to from a lot of stuff I read or watched a long time ago that is similarly meandering, and it's sort of something I'm a bit more used to than some people are, I think. So it bothers me less than some people, but it definitely could have been tighter. Uh, but I also totally, absolutely understand why this is so high on some people's lists of favorite shows. Like, I get it. Like, there's a lot to digest in there, and there are a lot of themes that I think are important to people, are more important to people than they are to me personally, because of who I am. You know, I'm a straight white dude. I mean, the themes of the show are less applicable for me than they are for other people, and I get that. And I respect that. I respect the fucking hell out of the show for doing what it did. Like,
oh yeah, for its time. Like that's one reason I didn't really touch on that, because yeah, by all means, you know, for doing that, those sort of themes at its time, and clearly being held back.
Yeah.
From what they actually wanted to do, you know, well done for them. But yeah.
Oh yeah, but again, the pacing could have been better. I agree.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing we all agree on.
This is the thing. None of my problems were with the content in and of itself.
It's just the pacing.
The delivery.
Yeah, no, I get it totally. And I also say this, like, Eric's right, they reuse a lot of animation because it's all hand-drawn, and there are 39 episodes to use, so you bet your ass they're going to reuse animation.
Yes.
But it does hurt it from a modern viewpoint. If you're used to watching action scenes with much less reused animation, like...
or none in some of the better shows.
Right,
I think the issue there with it's kind of what I mentioned a moment ago about the fights. A lot of the reused animation that you see is all around the walking up the stairs to the arena, the entering of the arena, the lift to the arena, the combat animation, the finishing moves, Dios falling from the sky, Anthe powering up her sword, all of those things. And then, like I said, the fights don't matter.
They do and they don't, but yeah.
They do, but the fights are such a, like, they're there kind of thing. But it's not so much that they're there, but we're also seeing the rerun of the fight over and over with a new skinned character.
I understand what you're saying. It comes back to fights' conversation, which these fights very much are. But they're using the same sentences over and over again.
Yeah.
Yes.
No. I actually no. That's the thing, is there's not a variety in the actual. That's one of the things I think would change in a modern version of the show.
Yes.
Is there would be more variety in the actual actions during the fights. And some of them would probably be shorter, honestly.
They make a point that each of the duelists fight in a different style. Saionji and
Toga are both kenjutsu fighters.
Kendo fighters and samurai, wannabes.
Mickey and Juri are both fencers.
Fencers, yeah, but
Naomi fights
double blade.
Yeah, she fights in a Persian style with a saber and a dagger.
Yeah, but what the animations that they use for
the majority of the fights, yeah, there are a few fights that actually do get different choreography is honestly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And a few of them do get that. The second duel with Juri gets it. Both the Juri's duels are different. Because
Juri's the best swordsman in the
right
amongst the entire cast.
Yes, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
But yeah, but long story short, to wrap up my sort of final thoughts on the show,
Sorry, yeah.
I really do like the show. I highly recommend watching it. But Gav's right; it is long. It can be sort of an ask. Take your time. Also take your time with it. Don't binge it. Honestly,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the shows I think is helped by not binging it. Like, I think it actually is weirdly helped by watching it week to week. Because it gives you time to process, like, you can go back and like process, like, if you want to. Like, the other thing is you can dive back in and like look for the symbolism for the things that they couldn't actually put in the show from the manga because it's on network television. Because there's a lot of stuff that they're hinting at that yeah.
It's just going to take you near 9 months to do it, that's all.
Probably, but I mean, hey, there are shows that'll take you longer to get through. One Piece.
Yeah, we're not doing One Piece.
We're never doing One Piece.
But the last thing I want to mention is the two last things I want to mention quickly. One, the score. The music is fantastic. Like, the opening theme is very 90s, sort of, late 90s shoujo J-pop intro. But it's really well done version of that song, that style of song. But most of the rest of the score is this weird sort of, like, as Eric put it, 70s prog rock. It's like, wait, what?
Japanese prog, yeah.
We were completely thrown off by the theme as she's going up the tower. We're like, wait, what the fuck? I mean,
Like,
I love the song. It's a great song, but
well, that's the thing. It's always the same tune, but the lyrics are always different.
yeah, that's the really cool thing too.
One of them, they're singing about different geological features. The next one, it's about fucking clouds. The elder gods. It's like, what?
Prog rock, man, prog rock.
But from an English non-Japanese speaking kind of point of view, it's the same song. If you watch the subtitles, because the songs are always subtitled as well, it's like, what the fuck are they talking about?
Because the lyrics will talk about what's actually going on.
Yeah.
In
They do
allegory,
try and
usually,
link
but
it to what's been going on. Oh yeah, an allegory of what's been going on. But yeah,
weird show, man. But I really dig it. But the other last thing is that back to the reuse animation thing, which I want to point out is every now and then they'll do something completely jaw-dropping.
Yes.
You're just like, wait, what? Oh, that was good. That was good. And like some of the shot composition they have is phenomenal. Like they reuse stuff, but they made the best. They made some serious. And it's also, as I said, the animation gets better as it goes along. I think part of it is budgeting, and part of it is also I think they just got better at it as they went along. Like the team sort of, they may have changed animation directors at some point. Also, I don't know.
I'm fairly certain they did.
Because the difference between arcs 1 and 2 and arcs 3 and 4 is noticeable.
Yeah.
At any rate, Eric, you have the hammer, as it were.
All right. So, should you watch this show? Yes, you should definitely watch this show. Gav is right. It is occasionally a fucking chore. But the ending ties it all, makes it all worth it, honestly. It's got some excellent characters. Fucking Akio, who does not show up until about halfway through the show, to the show's detriment. But yeah, no, the characters are really interesting. It's a weird, surreal show that's occasionally hilarious and
oh god,
sometimes infuriating, and always like more stuff going on than you think. It's got pacing issues because it's old. It's not the visual treat it could be because it's old. It like I said, they're reusing a lot of animation assets. That you're gonna see that same shot at least once an episode. But it's deep and layered and surreal and open to interpretation, and begs to be rewatched to peel away other things. It's I would definitely say watch this show. I'd say probably watch it twice. It'll give yourself about a year between viewings.
Yeah. But that's the other thing is if you're the sort of person who likes dissecting stuff, this is a show worth watching.
Yeah,
definitively.
This is definitely worth watching for that. Just for that. And also it's just a great fairy tale told in this style of an epic poem. complete with like cyclical plot points and archetypical characters that don't really change, but will change the way they react to similar stimuli. And yeah, no, I do not regret watching this show. I like this show. I recommend it. It is not at the top because it commits all the sins that 90s anime will commit. It commits all of those sins. It meanders too long. It has pacing issues.
It reuses too much animation. It's cagier than it should be because, well, it's dealing with standards and practices in the 90s. Mm-hmm.
You get away with a lot less shit then. But Peter's also right. Holy shit, do they, like, there's a no small amount of courage in this show. And doing and saying what they do. And the themes it addresses and the characterizations. And it's got gay necromancers.
Yep.
There is no question that they are gay and they are necromancers and they are using Black Lantern rings. Like, great story arc. It is just
totally tangential,
completely tangential, and does not have any purpose in the show.
Anyways,
it's got literal Satan in it. Like Milton's Satan, not like boring ass horns and tail Satan, but like as depicted in Paradise Lost Satan.
Now, again, as we've already mentioned, there are movies out there. There is one that promotes itself as a cut down version and retelling of the same story. This is not a cut down version of the TV show. This is a completely brand new made film. It covers a lot of the same plot points, but by the reading of this, it's very different. And as Peter said, takes a whole lot of advantage of the fact that it's not for TV.
Yeah.
So if you want to go the short route and get the general gist of the story, there is that, but that's your warning.
Also, as I said, you will, if it's in a movie, there will be nuance lost in a movie length production.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
But yeah, there's a shot from one of the movies that I saw, which has me going the fuck, of a very naked Anthe and Utena embracing each other, lying down on a motorcycle like thing, zooming down the highway through a post-apocalyptic landscape. I am very confused by this.
Well, it's obvious. You just haven't read enough.
Yeah, it's like I don't know what movie this is from, and I don't know when this is happening. But like, yeah, okay, I believe this is happening in the story of Utena somewhere. Like, I have no problem thinking, that there's no part of me that says that doesn't fit in with Utena. No, that fits in with Utena.
No, that makes perfect sense in the context of the show.
Yeah,
what it means, I have no idea, but it makes perfect sense in context of the show. Like, I am not surprised that exists.
Yep, no. But yeah. Anyways, that is it for Utena. Gav, you have the next series selection. What are we gonna watch next? Please say it's not more than 26 episodes.
I can neither confirm nor deny, because I don't know, but I don't think it is.
It's not.
No, I'm gonna bring back up to modern day, something a little bit more actiony, shall we say, with hopefully more than 3 frames of animation. Fire Force.
Ooh.
Mostly one that I'm throwing this out because I saw like the first 2 or 3 episodes, and I always meant to get back to it and never did. So here we go.
Yeah, I think I got to like episode 6 or 7, and I got distracted by something shiny.
As is what happens. So,
I think I got up to 6 or 7, and then I was having issues with Crunchyroll and couldn't watch anything on Crunchyroll for like 2 weeks and forgot.
Yeah,
that will happen.
So yeah, we're doing Fire Force next. That should be a hoot. We'll get to see people fighting fire with fire, literally.
Laser sword.
Also made of fire.
Yes.
Yeah.
They are literally fighting fire with fire, and that's kind of awesome.
Pyrogenic firefighters.
Go figure. That's gonna do it for this episode, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you're listening to us on YouTube, feel free to throw us a like and follow and all that stuff, or throw a comment. Feed the algorithm, guys, please. Om nom nom. But yeah, honestly, if you've got, we're at the point now where we will not be I think I'm at the point now where I'm considering keeping an eye on the recommendations to see, because while there are shows left that I kind of want to do that I'm the majority of the shows I thought about doing, I know Eric's also watched, so it's just making Gav watch it. And about a third of them are a bit longer than I'd like to do.
This is the thing. We still have the watch list. And,
we do.
We're always looking for new things. Like, every now and again, like my suggestion this time, not everything's going to be off the watch list, but we have it there as a point of reference to see what you guys want us to watch as well. But if there is something that's come out recently or recently just finished and we want to go into them, but yeah, by all means, we might jump into that. But it doesn't mean that we're ignoring the watch list. It's there. It's useful. We've already covered a fair few.
But yeah, it's mostly we tend to stick with stuff that we know we want to make the other two watch if they haven't seen it yet. See, no. I am going to make Eric watch another sports anime at some point.
That's unnecessary.
No, it's not. We'll find one that you don't hate, Eric, that doesn't involve cute girls and tanks.
I mean, I guess. What's wrong with cute girls and tanks? Let's just do that again.
I mean, I'm happy to rewatch Girls in Panzer, but we can't do another episode on it. The last one took 3 hours.
Not a particularly deep show, just one we really liked.
Yes. Anyways, that's going to do it for this week, guys. Throw us comments and such, share the tapes, etc. Pass tapes around, guys, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care, buddy.
Bye-bye.